Hello, this is our third critical discourse. I'm Angela.
I'm Tanya.
Katie.
Romaine.
Hi. And today we're talking about whether or not art can be used successfully for social change. What do you think, guys?
I really liked yesterday when Bruno came in and did the project with us. I thought that was really neat, the way that he designed it so that it was structured, yet gave us a lot of opportunity to express our visualizations for the answers to the questions that he provided. And I thought his questions were very interesting, like, what would we do? And so thinking about what would I do to create social change or to lessen the effects of what I do on the environment, and how do I articulate that in art was a really interesting thing, and I had some really good conversations with the people around me as we were kind of processing through it. So it was very interesting that way.
Does doing art, does it make it more impactful than seeing art? Like seeing protest art or social art, does it make it more, more real and more meaningful if you're participating in that art?
Depends on what aspect you're looking for. If you're looking for a social community building aspect of it, you look at ESL students, or even Bruno for that matter, who talks about how it's a struggle every day for him to communicate properly through language. Even though I'm not an artist myself, some people might be able to find their connection to other people and other cultures through art a lot easier than through language.
I think it's kind of similar to everything else we talk about in this program too. Like we talk about how it's more valuable for students to be a participant in doing something rather than just reading about it. So I think it's the same thing with art. If you're a part of the process rather than just observing passively.
But showing your process can still help the bigger community. Like I think of the fish project. Like, have you ever driven past a school and seen all those fish? Like, all the kids participated and it had a meaningful impact on them. But every time I drive past, even though I've never participated in it, I remember, like, oh yeah, we need to be protecting fish through our stormwater and what we allow to run into the drains.
I can think too, a lot of really big movements have had collaborative art, like the Vietnam War protests did a lot of group artwork that they'd build together, and then like the feminist movement had like the supper table or the dinner table, which was a huge collaborative feminist piece, and I think a lot of art that transforms involves a lot of people.
And it's interesting, in the Eisner article that we had to read, the one quote that I remember was that he said there are certain things that we can't express in words. And I think that's so true, and we all know it, even if we don't always think about it. We all know that once in a while you just get stuck for words. And so if you can transform those things that you want to say but you can't say in words to a song or a painting or a poem or a sculpture or whatever medium that you feel works best for that thing you're trying to express, I feel like that's so important to have those outlets for students and for ourselves.
It creates a new language for something that might not have words.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Also creates that dive into this art speaks to me in this way. Well, the same thing can speak to this person in a different way, so that they can create their own connections. And what we've learned is that when you have that own experience and connection with something, you value it more and you pay attention to it more.
I also love how Bruno's project came back to be like a collective piece at the end too. Like I've done a lot of different art projects with kids and stuff, and it's usually like, okay, you do something, it's yours, take it home. But this was like a big collective thing, and it was really interesting to see how all of the pieces came together in the end and how we all had different interpretations and all of that was
And I think just on a classroom level, a project like that can really create classroom community when you're working toward a piece that is a whole. And so each person is bringing something to that. And there's no judgment on what they're bringing to it. It's just you're bringing yourself and what you have to give. And you're, whether that is in a painting or at the school I was at Willow's, we did a cool thing where we took a photo of someone in the class, just a random photo, and we chopped it into pieces basically. And so each child got a piece of paper with an image on it, and they had to transfer that onto a piece of paper using pastels. And so each piece was done a little bit differently, and then we reassembled the photo like a mural out in the hallway. And so they saw it in the end, but it was kind of a weird pixelated effect because of the way it had been chopped up.
Yeah.
But they loved that project. That's like more than other projects I had done with them. They were just like, whoa, this is so cool.
We did a thank you card similar to what we did outside, where we were told stories from a woman from the Native Friendship Center, and then we had the kids each do a little tile piece of what part of their story or her journey that they liked, and they drew that, and then we put it together in a big card, and they love like that. They love collaborative art, I think, and coming together.
I had a cool experience in my practicum too. We had a TOC come in. He works with clay a lot, so every time he comes in, he brings clay and does stuff with the kids. So while I was there, he did this really cool like hexagon kind of shaped thing about butterflies, because I was teaching them about like butterfly life cycles. So we had them in groups like kind of adding what they wanted to about butterflies and about their life cycles onto this clay, and then it became like this big tile thing that he was going to bring back to the class when it was done.
Oh. I really appreciated how Bruno didn't tell us exactly how to do it. Like, he gave us topics to think about when we painted our pieces of canvas, but he didn't tell us we had to do a literal painting, which, like, I'm not very artistic, but I'm very creative, so if he had asked me to do a literal painting, I don't know what I would have done, because I can't do that. So it wasn't about the process, it was about just digging into yourself and seeing what comes out.
It was interesting too that there was no instruction on like technique. He wasn't like, okay, like this is what how you have to treat this kind of paint. This is how you treat the paintbrush. Like there was nothing like that. He was just like, here's some supplies, go figure it out.
And there was people that don't really know much about paint and took like globs and thinking, oh my goodness, like I felt bad about my little bits of leftovers and I painted my folder with it because I felt bad about them.
Yeah, I also liked how when we were standing there a little bit stumped by the assignment he had just given us, he said, well, think about it in terms of color. You know, think about the answers to these questions and how you feel about these topics. You know, if a power struggle was a color, what would it be? What color would it be? And, you know, if social change was a color, what color would it be? Or would it be a rainbow of colors? Like, and how would you put those colors together? And, like, if you can just shut your eyes and think about the colors of feelings for a moment. And I love that because I think when kids are little, I feel like they see these overlaps between color and music and thought and feeling so much more. You know, you can ask a 2-year-old, oh, what color is a 2? And they'll be like, oh, it's green, or it's blue. And they think, or what color are you feeling right now? Oh, I'm feeling purple because, and I think as we grow older, we tend to separate, you know, color is this, and number is this, and my feelings are this, and just separate them instead of allowing them to blend. And I think it's really neat to bring it together and think about how can I express what I'm feeling in a way that is different, and maybe that would speak to somebody in a way that my words wouldn't.
Yeah.
Art that has also been used for social change in negative ways, like propaganda art and things like that. So I think we can't dismiss it as being not worth looking at for social change, because it's been used really successfully in all sorts of different ways too.
Yeah. Well, it is true that, you know, that there's a reason people say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So an image, something that you can visually see or something that you can touch, is so powerful because it makes an impact on you often that words may not. So
Can reach all sorts of people.
And it can be cross-cultural as well.
It makes me think of graffiti art too. Like, most people think that that's delinquent behavior, but except for when people are just tagging things, like, it can be really beautiful, and it can be somebody just needing to get their message out, and that's the way that they know how to do it. And I think that there is value in that.
Or it can lead into like the social, environmental, ecological aspect of like all the recycled art projects. Look at how many tin can things make wheelchair, like all those projects. They're artistic in that sense too, and like using beach stuff and like, or garbage items. One class I took recycled computers and built little robots, and you know, like it's amazing what you can do with art and what message that you can send with it.